BBC Two's Late Show now goes inside the formidable work of Hollywood's favourite villain.
Using the no and then the strokings that you create the right moment to go in to say, I knew you before I saw you. Yes, you're right. Though I thought she'd worked something out that was quite good for when you bring your hands up. It kept her going. I thought that was working, so that if we get the first...
There's no point in working, to me, unless there's a conversation going on between the actors, the director, the script. It's the stuff of every day, is to ask questions. One isn't trying to be difficult. You're just trying to get so you know where to place this peculiar energy that's called being an actor.
Alan Rickman's international reputation has been earned with a series of powerful supporting performances in films like Die Hard, Robin, Prince of Thieves, and Truly, Madly, Deeply. Despite the lucrative offers that have followed, he's held out until now to play his first title role, in Mesmer, written by the late Dennis Potter. For Rickman, with his meticulous approach to creating a character, the right script is crucial.
The yeses and the nos are all to do, really, with script. You either want to say those lines or you don't.
I can see I'm going to have to tell you everything.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
It was his performance in the Royal Shakespeare Company's production of Les Liaisons Dangereuses on Broadway that landed Rickman his first Hollywood role.
The fact of the matter is, it's the first step towards the most ambitious plan I've ever undertaken.
Well, go on.
You see, my aunt is not on her own at the moment. She has a young friend staying with her. Madame de Tourvel.
Yes.
She is my plan.
I was in New York when it was playing, and I went to see it, and he was staggering. I was, bowled over by just watching his, just the theatricality of how he played this role. And I went back to L.A. and explained to John McTiernan, who was working with me and planning to do Die Hard, how effective I thought Alan was.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Due to the Nakatomi Corporation's legacy of greed around the globe, they're about to be taught a lesson in the real use of power. You will be witnesses.
We were very, very lucky when we got Alan, because it kind of set the stage for that kind of evolution of bad guys.
After all your posturing, all your little speeches, you're nothing but a common thief.
I am an exceptional thief, Mrs. McLean, and since I'm moving up to kidnapping, you should be more polite.
Die Hard did great things for him. It really opened up the American marketplace in terms of everybody recognizing him. And then I think what happened was Truly, Madly, Deeply balanced it out. People saw him as a great actor as well as a fantastic bad guy.
Early one morning, the sun was rising. I was laying in bed, wondering if she'd change at all, if her hair was still red.
Go away. Oh.
The world one man says fine today. There's not a cloud to come my way, but it's raining. Raining in my heart.
Oh, Jerry! Oh, God.
That was a art house movie, but a very well-perceived art house movie where he was romantic and a leading man, and it showed that he could do much more than just be the arch villain.
This hooded viper simply slithers into the forest. You, Myram, 10:30 tonight. You, 10:45. Bring a friend.
After I'd written the script and I had a certain take I was trying to go for on the sheriff, Alan read it and responded to what it was I was trying to do, the humor in particular. And we sat down and had a talk, and I could see we were both thinking along the same lines, that he didn't want to do standard fare either. And I think that's what sold it for me, that Alan wanted to take some big chances with the sheriff.
Just a minute. Robin Hood steals money from my pocket, forcing me to hurt the public. And they love him for it? Yes. That's it then. Cancel the kitchen scraps for lepers and orphans. No more merciful beheadings. And call off Christmas.
There was talk, obviously, afterwards that scenes had been cut out and that Alan had sort of eclipsed the star and all that sort of thing. I mean, what actually happened?
It's hard for me to say because at a certain point I left. My involvement ended. We don't need to get into that, but yeah, there were things taken out that Alan, I wish it had been left in because he really shone. He still shines.
You!
Loxley?
The king shall hear of this!
Join us.
Never. Join us or die.
Thank you, Lord Seer.
Mesmer has taken Alan Rickman a long way from Hollywood, in more senses than one. The film is being made in Hungary on a tight budget. But it's the kind of shoot that allows him to get involved in all aspects of the production.
It's kind of a rare mix to get something that's racy and entertaining, but it is also, hopefully, about something that ought to be being said at the moment. But you really can't know. It's so unpredictable. Could be a heap of shit.
Mesmer's Vienna and Paris are being recreated here in a castle in one of the remotest parts of Hungary. Mesmer himself was an 18th century visionary and doctor who believed that through hypnotism, or as he called it, animal magnetism, the balance of physical and spiritual forces could be changed to restore the sick to health. Working 100 years before Freud, his ideas were so revolutionary and so controversial that he was forced into exile.
Mesmer is somebody who had courageous instincts, or had instincts, and was courageous in the way he decided to honor them in the face of an awful lot of opposition. And those instincts and those ideas were tied into a desire to help the world heal itself.
To the local extras, Hungarian and German technicians, and international cast, Rickman's enthusiasm helps compensate for the long hours and trying circumstances of a tightly budgeted production.
I was very fortunate when Alan came on board that he too showed a passion for the project, and indeed, I mean, he stuck, you know, through thick and thin. Thin being no money, the thick being some money. But he is, you know, he's been a wonderful asset even now in production, as you can see. He's the glue that holds it all together. He's very clever in terms of what he chooses to do. And indeed, I mean, Mesmer is a tour de force for him.
Thank God we have not found Miss Barch in her rollers. Simon McBurney up the other end.
In his flat.
This is Karen.
No.
And this is Kurt. fascinating lady in boots.
This was somebody who was seeing into the future, and it was both about a changing world, a world that was inherently wrong, where a few people had access to some sort of medicine and most people had no understanding of it at all, where people lived in vast houses and thousands and thousands of people had to work for nothing to pay for these things. An unstable society, and he was a man who was preaching harmony, who was saying that the world was out of kilter, the world was in a state of disequilibrium, that it couldn't survive, and that illness was a part of that.
Mesmer, the contemporary of Mozart, he started working 20 years or 15 years before the French Revolution. He's really one of the very first people who stated or observed that there were illnesses that were not related exclusively to body ailments.
She's blind, did you know that? Blind as a bat. Ever since she was 3.
The one topic Dennis Potter is very interested in is what this actually means. To be ill, to suffer, and to get cured. Who is responsible for the process of healing? Is it the physician, or is it actually the patient whose responsibility it is? The hysteric lady Mesmer met was a blind pianist. It's almost too poetic to be true. A blind pianist who was clearly a hysteric. And this woman, Maria Teresa Paradis, she kept a diary in which she describes how she does not want to see because the world is so ugly, and she wants to devote herself entirely to the universe of sound. So she prefers to be blind.
No bowl. No blood spilling. Put those blades away. This young woman is in urgent need of the assistance of Franz Anton Mesmer. I am here.
Are you aware that you're manhandling Professor Stern?
Oh, get out of the way.
Physician to the Empress.
And what does the physician to the Empress intend to do to this young woman? Open her veins or open her eyes?
Ingenhaus. Who is this man?
I am a man who cures. Step aside, sis. You should never cover such an exquisite face.
Mesmer, leave her alone!
Trust me, you'll not be bled. I'm going to hold your face between my hands. Would you get off? Get off!
Will someone please remove this man?
One moment.
Don't you think there's too much physical stuff all the time? I mean, Mesmer is so powerful.
But it is about, it's about the distance that power demands.
Yes.
Yes.
You know what your territory is. And that's exactly what I've got to be seen to invade, is their territory.
See, I think that if you actually, as you were doing, you actually push me in this sort of society, even though I don't carry a sword, this is a huge insult. And it requires more of a repast than I'm given to be actually a gentleman, to be shoved by a gentleman.
But then play the reaction fully. If there isn't a reaction which is about no lines to come in, and I have, and Mesmer would, you know, he is somebody who just do whatever he wants to do in these circumstances. Then the other option is to just play the...
What happened yesterday was that you were pissed off and you went over to him and he brushed you away again. When we were just going through the business, it became much more physical. When we played it at full speed, you were offended because you got brushed aside, you were offended, you walked towards him and he pushed you away again. It actually did work. It's only when you try and force it into...
Not try to put stuff there which isn't there in the line.
Yeah.
I think it's always good if an actor gets involved with the project. Alan and Roger worked very closely together, and I think it's a great collaboration between the two of them, because they never agree in the first time, but they go both ways and then they somehow get back to each other. It's happening a lot of times on the set if you watch them, that Alan says, no, I should just jump up and run, and Roger says, no, and just walk slowly, and he does it, and then Roger goes back, well, why don't you try this, jump up and run? And then they keep it, and it's just something, it's a great chemistry between the two of them, and it's good, it's working good.
In the wide shot,
here we can slide up.
We can slide up.
The more films that one does, the more you get a sense of how the camera can reflect or contradict the story that you have going on in your head, but then you've also got to set that against the way a director's vision is not necessarily yours and can take yours and reshape it and make it into something more interesting. And so that's why I don't go to rushes, but that's also why you know, like yesterday I was saying, please don't put the camera so low because it means it's already got an attitude.
The ceiling is wonderful. Yeah.
And in this one it's nice, the hand heights coming out and going back again.
Akkor megyünk lassan jobbra és fordulunk rá a mezbe. Akkor azzal innen jövök rá. És közben jött be. Ott igen, ott alatta.
I'm going to ask Amanda to... I felt that while you were bringing your hands up, she quietened down so much that she was almost okay.
I think that's there's more noise when my hands go up, which is another, and there can still be more noise while I'm stroking.
Yeah. That's between...
What I enjoy is getting onto the set and seeing what happens on the day with the other actors and the director and myself, and not having predicted it too much. Usually there isn't rehearsal. You have to use that as a plus and not a minus. It is actually a minus, of course, because, truth be told, the people who say we can't afford to rehearse are actually wasting money, because we'd all get there much quicker if everybody had a sense of where they were going. But having said that, there is, you know, it's a bit like watercolors or something. You have to work fast, and it's a unique way of working.
Well, at the end, it doesn't work at the end, does it? Can you...
I just was waiting to get to know what the final flow. It's nice if Ethan is in front of the...
I personally think we should have them walk the other way around, even if they walk out of shot. I mean, I think we're all getting screwed up because we're walking the wrong way around the piano. You can't hold Alan here anyway, can you?
I can.
You can?
I can. I just didn't know what he's going to do. That's why I was hesitating.
No, I'm just trying to work out the various options that I have.
Keep going, we've got to get this before lunch. That'll be another hour. By the time we've shot 5 takes, and then 4:30, and then an hour and a half. Well, that's what I'm talking about.
It's the problem carrying her and turning her this way, and Amanda and I are kind of the bookends of the scene, but what she has to do is entirely emotional. And what I have to do is almost entirely technical. Keep talking and that.
Yeah.
And I have to stop.
You had to stop.
I And I'm saying now it's flowing straight and clear into you, and I shouldn't really be moving. I should have just picked her up and got her there.
And then you say
down. Well, I can't explain. I mean, it's just timing of lines, but this is really messy. I want to get this sorted out.
Okay, shush, please. Please. We haven't finished, sorry.
I didn't notice.
It's a 14-page scene. It's a 14-page scene in one room with about 9 characters we're introducing. And
are we printing all of these takes also?
no, but if we only shoot 2 takes on the principal, then I print them both. We should shoot 3.
For example, the carriage stuff I was yesterday were like 10 takes, this way, 10 takes that way, all of them printed.
Do you want coffee?
You used so much stock that I cannot even drink a coffee.
Well, I'll share my coffee with you. It'll be like saving some film.
We had like 70 or 80 extras in the room playing the cream of Viennese society, and producers coming in saying, well, they don't look aristocratic enough. And you think, well, no, we're in Hungary, that's the whole point. They got rid of them. But they're amazing people. We were just talking this morning about the fact that they'd worked for 14 hours, and I'm about to go in and discover whether they actually got any lunch yesterday. I, of course, in my ignorance, assumed that they had. And it may have been bread rolls.
Alan was concerned that they're not getting hot meal. And we had a little argument about this, but just normal.
Why aren't they getting a hot meal?
What is it?
Why aren't they getting a hot meal?
Are they?
No, why aren't they?
For economical reasons. Why aren't they getting a hot meal in New York City? They're getting a lunchbox. Why aren't they getting hot meal at Disney Studios? They're getting a lunchbox. It has Mickey Mouse on it, but they're getting a lunchbox. For economical reasons. Why are we doing it in Hungary, this part? Partially because it takes place here, but partially because it's cheaper.
There is a universal unseen force, moving through all things and all creatures. It is this power of animal magnetism moving from me to you, Maria Theresa, that provoked the crisis.
Nonsense.
This power moving from me to you made you cry out in agony as it encountered the distortion of your sickness. Encountered the distortion of your sickness. You can feel it. You can feel it. You can feel it. Can you? Can you feel it?
Yes. I can feel it.
Here is your patient. She has not been harmed. The quality that kept coming back to me more and more was a kind of innocence. And I'm not sure whether maybe most visionaries have to have that quality, or whether it's something to do with Dennis Potter, because the boy sitting up in the trees in The Singing Detective is also young Mesmer sitting on top of a mountain looking down at the world in this. say that when he was a boy, he used to climb to the top, the highest mountain that he could find, so that he could see better. And everywhere that he looked, he could see that everything was very beautiful.
So this sky onto him. Maybe, yes, maybe.
Isn't it your day off today?
Yes.
So why are you here?
Because in a sense this is part of my performance, you know, it's me by proxy. And it's a very important part. So I just need to be plugged into it, I suppose. It would have been odd to think that it was being filmed without you there.
Silence partout, s'il vous plaît, on ne parle plus, on ne marche plus, merci. Silence.
There was always a scene in the script with Marie Antoinette and Louis walking through the grounds of their little home, and for quite a while it was perhaps not going to be included. A particular expense for a scene that lasts one page, but it just seemed to me and to Roger and eventually to everybody else that it was crucial. It's certainly the last day of shooting, and then Roger goes off to LA with his cans and sits in the editing room and starts post-production. But I've finished speaking.
So, again, I mean, you're not actually in this scene.
No, but I don't know what it is. It's a kind of wanting to be there when the lid is put on a box, I suppose. And also because I fought quite hard to get the scene into the film.
We're going to do a single on him and then a single on you.
Mm-hmm.
And your cream puff will be off camera. We're not going to start shooting until you're off frame. So you don't actually need to. You can do this one without a cream puff if you can manage.
Lovely.
Do you humour me and do one when you're on her, where she plays no reaction whatsoever to having said the most famous line in the world?
Yes.
Let them eat cake.
Yes. Off we go.
I feel as if I'm here as the attorney for the defense of the scene. Final irony is probably that it will be cut again, but at least it was shot.
Being able to shoot.
And rolling. 5, 4, 5, 3, 1. Speed and action, please.
I'm very fortunate to have a job where it's as creative, or it can be highly creative, and I'm working with other people. That's what I enjoy, is the corporate thing, you know. I'd never get involved in a one-man show. I don't know what that would be for.
Thank you.
But we need Carl live. Carl!
It's the most difficult shoot of my life. I'd never had something like this in my life. We had every problem we can have in a movie, and every single problem we can have in a movie. Some of that I don't want to talk because it's between us. Some of them are just normal film problems, but they all happened on this movie. All. Losing locations, losing actors. It's a lot of struggle. It's a real struggle. But I hope it's worthwhile.
Ah, merci bien.
A film, for better or for worse, always takes on a life of its own. It's a very strange thing, and that has already happened with this film. It's already its own animal. And so now, you know, all we can do is to make it the healthiest and fittest and freest animal that it can be, which involves, you know, our individual ideas about how to do that, but somewhere in there it is what it is, and it's breathing for itself now.
Do you think there's anything that might smother that?
Yes, external pressures to do with selling it, distributing it. Whether there are some powerful individuals involved in that process who don't themselves listen properly or watch properly the piece of work itself and what it has to say, but they kind of want it to say something else in order for them to be able to do their job in the way they think they want to do it. That could smother it.
Filming may be over, but now the film has to be sold, and Rickman still has to perform for the marketing men.
So this is the beginning of our selling season, and what this represents is a coming together of all the world's buyers. Everybody flies in, and for a very intense period of 7 days, we, the sellers, show what we have, and that is a combination of posters on the wall, cassettes and everything, or if we're lucky, a completed film.
I'm worried that our film's in amongst all this crap, too. The producers feel that the AFM requires my presence in order to secure distributors and foreign sales for the film. So I guess we're here as a sort of special offer.
Okay, so this is with Alan Rickman, and you remember him from Die Hard, and he also was the sheriff of Nottingham in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. And then in here it tells you about Mesmer. Remember, he was the gentleman from Vienna who worked with hypnosis. He is
a film like Mesmer, which we presented to the world for the very first time at Cannes of last year, where we were able just to make an announcement. At that stage, all people had to go on was the script and the elements of Roger Spottiswoode and Alan Rickman. Now that in itself, of course, was interesting, especially with a screenplay by Dennis Potter, but the buyers needed to see something more, because we're not dealing with Arnold Schwarzenegger here, we're not dealing with Van Damme, we're not dealing with one of those pure, what they call pre-sellable items. So, generally speaking, the presence of a star in a marketplace is immensely important, and it can make the difference between a film taking off or not taking off at all.
This time you are well romantic.
Oh, he's very romantic. Yeah, that match is true.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My name is Ian Scora, and on behalf of Mayfair Entertainment and the producers, I'd like to welcome you to this, the very first screening of Mesmer. And it gives me very great pleasure to introduce you to Roger Spottiswoode, Alan Rickman, and Amanda Ooms.
So it's an early section of the film. It takes place in the late 18th century, and I think that's about all there is. I'm sorry it's such a mess. I'm sorry it's so scratched, and it's a genuine work in progress.
I hope you enjoy it. It's too late to replace us.
When I touch the magnet, when I do what I alone can do, then you will feel it coursing through you.
The preview screening is the first time that Alan Rickman has seen an edited version of the film. Having been excluded from the cutting room, he's concerned that the production might not live up to the intensity of his own vision of the part.
Women in Film Festival.
It's just that I had this phone call this morning. It was very interesting to just listen to him talking about what works, what doesn't.
What did he? And he was very forthright with you, obviously.
Yeah, and he just says that you know, you're watching a film and you just think, well, we just don't get to know this person enough, and we don't see enough sides of it. And you leave the cinema thinking, well, who was that? Something's got to be done while there's an opportunity. Or at least. I don't know that I'm concerned that it will be a success. I'm just concerned that it's a reflection of my work. It's been a long journey, and it's been a complicated one, and it's been a tough one, and I'm still in there, you know, with the boxing ring is still up, and I haven't been knocked out yet, and so I'm still in there. So it's just a practical thing. You know, you always want the work that you're involved in to be as good as it can be. And there always seems to be a conversation about that. The diagnosis. Maybe it's just tenacity or something. Never really wanting to let go. That's a thing that one should do more often, is let go, I think.
You see before you the conductors of my path. Don't be frightened if you swoon away. Don't resist. Let it caress you, whisper to you, murmur to you as the force in me comes flowing into your flesh, your nerves, your bones. Take hold. Hold the rope. You may perhaps lose control of your senses. Don't be alarmed. Safe in my hands. Put the rods on whatever part of your body ails you most. Now.